What is up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. It is Monday. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Hopefully you guys had the best Sunday yet. Well, my software people that I pay money to for their service convinced me that they have fixed the issues that we were having. So I've been sitting here messing with all the live chats and whatnot. That's why the intro took so long. But it seems that we are clear over on Rumble. We are once again live over on Odyssey. Kick is still doing good. And so far we don't have a green or a gray screen over on YouTube. I will be monitoring that to see if YouTube goes green or gray. Otherwise, it seems that we are good to go. We're good to go. So don't be afraid to hit that like button. More likes, more hooligans, especially over on Rumble. Hitting that like button gets us on the front page where everybody can see us. Either way, we're going to be starting off today with a video titled, "Is Apollo the Humanoid Robot Coming for Your Job?" I can see this already taken over at Amazon and stuff like that. They are building robots that are going to be your co-workers, and they're trying to make them friendly looking so you're not intimidated by your robot friends at work. Then we have a video titled, "Orbs found in ocean are from Interstellar meteor," says a Harvard scientist. I don't know. It's more like resources. It's not like a living organism or anything like that. It's something else. It's something interesting, so we're covering that, okay? Just take my word for it. Then we have an interesting video titled, "Hundreds of BLM protesters gathered for a demonstration in Columbus, Ohio for the death of Takiana Young." So for those of you that came over to the alternative platforms on our live Saturday, I believe it was, you will have watched the videos with us. We had two videos that we had covered about Takiana Young. She was being accused of stealing liquor. She was in the parking lot outside of the store. Officers were coming up to the parked vehicle, knocking on the window, telling her to get out, letting her know, hey, you're being accused of stealing liquor from the store. We need to talk to you. You're being detained. She refused, yelled stuff out the window, and then went to pull away even though there was an officer in front of the car. Continued on in what would look like she's attempting to run over the officer. Grabbed his sidearm, shot through the windshield, hit her in the chest. The car drove against the wall of the building, didn't go inside the building, but it did connect with the building, and she died. She kicked the bucket. She was pregnant. She already had a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, I believe it was, and then she was currently pregnant, and because of her actions and what happened with the situation with the officer shot her, and she died from it. We covered the whole body cam footage and everything over on Rumble and all the alternative platforms, all the non-YouTube platforms. I hate calling them alternative platforms because they are the primary. If you're watching on YouTube, I almost never read the chat. So if you're over on YouTube, leave YouTube, come to the other platforms if you want your chats to be acknowledged. jeffmaclive.com and Rumble is the top of the totem pole there. So if you would like to have all eyes on you, make your way over those platforms. But yeah, so that's what happened with Takiana Young. I guess protesters were out yesterday, 14 hours ago, hitting the streets, marching, doing what protesters do of the BLM sorts. I will be keeping my eyes open today to see if we can capture any live protests going on for Takiana Young. I don't necessarily think it's going to become a George Floyd situation, but you never know because we're coming up on an election year. So maybe this will be the fire that gets us started to the overwhelming riots and dumpster fires that everybody misses. Then we will be covering the last video that we're going to show on YouTube. It's titled Vacationer in Chief. Here's a look at the major crisis Old Man Walter has missed while he was away. He has taken more vacation time than any other president ever, from what I can gather from this video. A lot of people are always bitching about Trump on the golf course. I'm sure you guys all remember that. We got all these problems and Trump's out there on the green, blah, blah, blah. Old Man Walter has spent like 40% of his time being in office away from the White House. So anyways, it's just a little summary of facts in comparison between the Orange Eagle, Old Man Walter, and every other president that's ever been in office. Just a little fact dump there. Then we're going to be cutting off YouTube because from here on out, we will be covering a Nazi group called Blood Tribe, who apparently was marching around Florida yesterday, somewhere near Disney World. They were out near there. I don't know if feds don't have anything better to do on a Sunday or what, but that's what they look like to me. Just, you know, the White House trying to prove themselves right, that white supremacy is a big bad thing. There's white supreme pizza in the streets, and so they're proving it, and whatever. But I can't show that imagery. I also cannot have the audio play. There's things being said and chanted and yelled and screamed, and there's swastikas everywhere and all this other bad stuff. And YouTube will blame me for their actions, so I can't show that stuff on YouTube. So when we get to that point, I will let you know. You'll have all the links necessary to move over where you need to go to see about the Nazis in Florida, all the white supreme pizza going on out there. We're going to read through the chats really quick, make sure everything is still working correctly, and then we'll go ahead and get her started. What's up, everyone, over on jeffmaclive.com? Appreciate you guys being here. Still got to work on the chat a little bit, but for now I'm going to zoom the browser so I can read what you guys are saying. What's up, Annette? Happy freedom. Fingers crossed. We'll be good on the website. It's everywhere else that I worry. The website's always good to go. What's up, Dan? Appreciate you being here. Happy freedom, you hooligans. Old Man Walter has been on vacation for over 365 days. I'm trying to think what they said. He's been in office for 900 and something days, and he's spent over 300 days on vacation. The numbers they said suggested a third of his term, or his, I don't know, his circuit he's running right now, his first 4-year circuit. It suggested, when they said the numbers, like 30%, or, you know, a third of his time in office. But then when they broke it all down, they said it ends up being like 40% of the whole time he's been in office, he's been on vacation, on top of everything going on, Maui fires and all. What's up, everyone over on Rumble? Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Brian? What's up, JT3? What's up, Snooks? Appreciate you hooligans being here. Happy freedom. What's up, Joe? What's up, Zero? What's up, Breezy? What's up, Old BR? Welcome to the live, you hooligans. What's up, Schulers? What's up, Witchy? Thank you so much, Witchy. You know what I'm talking about. I know you didn't want it, but I'm giving it to you anyways. Thank you so much, Witchy. What's up, Madline? Is it Madline or is it Madeline? We got one of each. We probably got more than one of each, but I don't want to be saying your name wrong. I see you here every day, and I really appreciate all the support. What's up, Captain Seamus? What's up, Brew Joe? What's up, Seppa? Happy freedom to you, hooligans. What's up, Matthew? 369 at a time. They can't resist it. No, those numbers pop up everywhere ever since Tesla found them out. What's up, Ghostly? What's up, Bob Freak? Happy freedom. What's up, Patriot Dad? Appreciate you being here. Rumble on over to Rumble. I appreciate you, Patriot Dad. What's up, Skydiver Sam? Sam, did you change your name? Did you change your name? You want everybody to know. You're the man in the sky. Oh yeah, is today Labor Day? Is tomorrow. Tomorrow's Labor Day, right? Happy Freedom Monday, Labor Day, hooligans. Oh no, today is Monday. Today's Labor Day, right? I don't know. I don't get vacation time, so I don't know. It's the only time you pay attention to the holidays. Is it? Happy Labor Day, hooligans. Thank you for reminding me, Sam. Sam's keeping me up to date here. What's up, Roy? Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Roy, if you can send that to me through email or through Gilded or Discord or Telegram, that'd be the way to go. I didn't hear about Trump being live right now. Trump is supposed to be live. I believe it's Friday, the 8th. Let me check my calendar really quick. Yeah, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. He's supposed to be in Rapid City, South Dakota, for a Trump rally. We'll be covering that everywhere but YouTube, of course, because YouTube's community guidelines, as always. But yep, we will have the Orange Eagle on Friday live. Patriots Dad, they hate Trump and claim to be pro-Biden. Yeah, the Nazis in Florida. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're authentic. I don't think they're the real deal. I think they're fed boy up. I don't know. You see, they ain't working today. I bet you don't see those Nazis out there today. It's a federal holiday, so betcha. What's up, Space Baby? Happy freedom. What's up, Pico? All the hooligans over here. Appreciate all of you guys being here on Rumble. What's up, Bizarro? Appreciate you sliding in the last moment here. That's what she said. Let's see. Are we still good over on Odyssey? It's been a rough week or two for Odyssey. It's not Odyssey's fault. I thought it was, but it's not. It was the damn service I pay for. I've been working with their tech team. They are outstanding. Let's see. Actually, is it looping? It's still saying that we will begin shortly. That's incorrect. Hold on here. Let me see. Come on now. Do the thing. Kick on over. Oh, Brian, no. I guess I have a typo error thing going on there. I erased it because I was running a test live and I wasn't able to get it back, so I had to go back and retype it, and apparently I made a typo. I'll get it fixed. Are we good? I can't tell. Odyssey is just sitting here buffering for me. I don't know. I'll check back in a second. I can't tell. What's up, everyone over on Kick? What's up, Garlic Press? What's up, Godzilla? Happy freedom. Appreciate you, Godzilla. Garlic Press, family store owners are fighting back against robbers and looters. They'll be called racist now. Yeah. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. You can't stand up to the corrupt or you're the bad guy. If you stand up to bad guys, you're the bad guy. I don't know. Perspective is everything. What's up, everyone over on Twitch? What's up, Tom Tom? What's up, Big Mac Pride? What's up, Mr. Beansy Beans? What's up, Bipolar Bear? Happy freedom. Happy freedom and happy Labor Day. Appreciate all of you guys being here. And we're still going over on YouTube. Happy freedom, all of you hooligans over on YouTube. Appreciate you guys being here. Let me see what you guys are tagging me in. What's up, Metal Makes You Crazy? Happy freedom. Appreciate you. What's up, Florida Boy? What's up, Wild Turkey? Happy freedom. What's up, Jerry? Appreciate you being here. Snooks, yeah. I had to mess with Rumble. I don't know why it didn't start right away. Something about the auto start just doesn't work for Rumble. I still can't tell if Odyssey's running or not. It's just sitting there buffering for me. But it may not be Rumble. It may be me. I got 13 web pages open, a YouTube video, my programs. I think it's running. I don't know. I can't tell. We'll figure it out as the show goes on. Either way, we're going to get started with this first video. It's titled, Is Apollo the Humanoid Robot Coming for Your Job? But first, go get you a Free the Orange Eagle t-shirt. Got his mugshot up there as soon as it came out. And if that's not your style, go get you a Screaming Goat t-shirt. Let everybody know you're all about that freedom. All right, hooligans, let's get her started.
Meet Apollo, your new robot coworker. He's designed to work alongside humans in a factory and help alleviate taxing and physical labor. Joining us now is Apptronik CEO Jeff Cardenas. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us today. Can't wait to hear more about Apollo, but tell us, how does Apollo work? How is this robot going to change the way it sounds like a factory functions?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you guys for having me here. The idea behind Apollo is basically today robots are very limited in what they can do. We have thousands of different robots and they each just do one or two things. And the goal with a robot like Apollo is to have one robot that can do thousands of different things. We call it a general purpose robot. And our roots at Apptronik are working with NASA. We worked on a robot called Valkyrie. And we've been iterating over many years to get these robots to be ready to go from the lab and out into the real world. And where Apollo is going to start is in a warehouse like you see behind me right here, basically moving boxes and moving totes and doing all the things that people don't want to do. We're facing a big labor shortage, and the goal for Apollo is to help out and to help people be more productive and prevent injuries.
So, Jeff, I'm looking at Apollo there, and, you know, I'm always interested to look at robots because my mind goes to the movies I've seen, and most of those movies scare me when it comes to robots, frankly. I'm looking at Apollo, and I see some very particular design decisions that you've made, I think, to make that robot look less intimidating and like something you could work with. Talk about that process.
Yeah, so Apollo is here to help. And at Abtronic, we came from a lab at the University of Texas at Austin called the Human-Centered Robotics Lab. And the focus of our research over many years has been, how should man and machine work together? It's called human-robot interaction. And so
This guy looks like AI. He doesn't even look like a real person.
over the years, basically taken everything that we've learned and put it into Apollo. And so it's designed to, be friendly to look at and also to be helpful. So it's got a display on its chest that when you walk up to the robot, how do you know what it's doing? And so it'll tell you basically how far it's completed in its task, how much time it thinks it has left, and what it's going to do next, so that when you're working around a robot like Apollo, you kind of understand what it's doing and you can trust it ultimately as it's integrated into the workforce.
Yeah, you can trust it.
Thank you so much. The future of co-working right there. Really appreciate it.
I don't know. What do you hooligans think? You're going to have robots for coworkers? I don't know. I don't think I could replace Klaus Daniels with a robot. I don't think it's going to work the same. I don't see how it could be safe. I could see your liability insurance going up if you're a business owner and you're employing robots. Could see how things could go left. What's up, Matt? What's up, 10 Man? Happy freedom. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. And then they reason it with saying, well, nobody wants to do those jobs. Stocking boxes and stuff like that. People don't want to do that stuff. There's a labor shortage. I don't think there's actually a labor shortage. I think that people can't afford to work at places that aren't willing to pay a certain amount. And I don't mean like a raised minimum wage thing, but I think that if you're getting paid $16 an hour to wash dishes at McDonald's and then you go work at a factory where you could potentially kill take yourself out, paralyze yourself, something like that, you're getting paid the same amount, you're like, I might as well go wash dishes instead of work at a factory where there's mandated overtime and stuff like that. The other situation I could see is like the situation I was in, where I was working 60 hours a week in a factory, and I was working overtime, but I was working overtime every single day, and then I'd get my paycheck and still couldn't afford my bills and had to pay rent with credit cards. And then eventually I'm just like, what am I even doing this for? What's the point of working here? I'm in danger every time I go to work because of the way the work environment is, the style of work I'm doing. And I still don't make enough to pay my bills. So why do that? And then you find out the back and forth, oh, McDonald's employees make the same much I do. They're not in any danger. They don't have to work overtime. So then why work there? Why do hard work for the same amount for people who aren't working that hard? So I don't really think it's necessarily a labor shortage. I think it's just, I think people are finding alternative ways. If you go to work and you work all day and all night and all the hours you could work possibly and still not afford bills, you don't have any more time for a second job. You don't have more time. You've locked all your time up with work and you still can't afford anything. So I don't know. And the way stuff is right now, you got to have 2-3 people live with you in order to be able to afford anything. If they raise my rent anymore, I'm not even going to be able to live here. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to be living in the Subaru. I don't know. 10-man people are lazy. There is a lot of lazy people. There's a lot of lazy entitled people. But I think there's this like struggle going on where you go to work and your job duties are outlined, and then they have you step outside your job duties and they still expect you to do those jobs and work 3 or 4 or 5 worth of positions, but you're only getting paid for that one job. And a lot of places here do that, where they'll have you come in as a temp or something, so you're making $10 an hour, but they'll have you work jobs for, if you were hired as that position, you'd be making $20, $25 an hour. And then they'll just have you do that. And if you bitch about it, then they'll just fire you and they'll put someone else in your spot because you're complaining that you're making $15 less for the job that you're doing, that you should be, you're entitled to that. at the same time as employers expecting you to do everything they want you to do, even if it's not your job duty, even if you should be paid more for it and they're not going to pay you more, at the same time you have new workers that are young people who have so much entitlement. They've had so much stuff handed to them. They've had participation trophies. They've had a system of school where if you dig your heels in the ground long enough, somebody will come along and do it for you. You don't ever have to learn to do it yourself. They're coming into that workforce that expects everything, overachieving and on for low pay, and it's clashing. And I think that's what we're seeing is a lot of clashing from entitled workers and I don't know how else to say it, slave driving employers. And we're having these two parties meet, and it's ruining the workforce. So if you're somebody that's been at this job for 10, 15 years, and you're seeing these new 20-year-olds come in, and they're not used to having to do any real work, let alone have an employer that expects you to go above and beyond, they're just quitting. They're just quitting left and right. So you got lazy new employees, and you got saddle riding employers at the same time, and I think it's just ruining the work environment. I think that's what's going on, and I don't think robots are going to make anything better. I think you're going to have new issues. You're going to have people getting hurt in new kinds of ways. That I could see becoming an intimidating situation, like, oh hey, blah blah, you're going to work in this area with these robots. We've had 3 employees die now because of something the robots did, but you'll be fine. Just wear this protective suit or something. Here's your PPE. Try not to let the robots kill you. I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but I can see potential issues with that. And I worked at McDonald's and started at $3.50 an hour. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm trying to think. When I started at KFC, it wasn't my first job, but it was probably the first job I went and got on my own and didn't have somebody special get me in the door. I'm trying to think what I was making, like $7 or $5 or something like that. I don't know. Minimum wage here in Michigan, I think, is still 8 something. But even if you make $15 an hour, you can't afford anything. You can't afford a place to live or nothing like that. You need to get like $18 to $20 an hour in order to be able to live here. Unless you live in a house that's got like 3 or 4 people in it. Then you might be able to make it. 10 man, I'm a master craftsman. I can pick up and choose jobs. Yeah, and that's the way to go. If you can learn, if you know traits and stuff like that, you're pretty much good to go. I would like to learn to be an electrician. I like that kind of stuff, and I understand that kind of stuff. And so I would like to get certified to be able to do that, because that's pretty good paying work. But I'd be self-employed. I wouldn't be working for some of these crews out here that do illegal stuff. Most crews out here are doing illegal stuff out here in West Michigan. Doing stuff that is not up to code, and they got somebody that can play the part, and they'll have tags put on your box and all this stuff, and working deals left and right. Lots of wheeling and dealing going on in West Michigan. From the ground up is all corrupt. So from the people putting your house together, to the people who certify your house as being safe, to the courthouse or the town hall that is providing your tags, there is corruption everywhere in this area. Everybody is somebody's cousin or baby daddy or somebody that they can wheel and deal and get some papers slid through. And that's how everything works out here in West Michigan. And if you're a person like I am, who is a truther, and you're not willing to let things slide, and you want everything done by the book and the way it's supposed to be done, you will have problems here. And that's why I keep my ass in the house, because whenever I find corruption and I call it out, everybody acts like some stuff is going to happen. They're going to do something about it. But really what they do is try to tell me what I want to hear, so I'll go the fuck away so they can continue on with their little corruption ring that they got going on. This Texas Chainsaw Massacre style of networking happening here. So it's best to just like stay in your house and hope they don't assassinate you out here in West Michigan. Damn politics and stuff, you gotta stay away from it. It's corrupt here. Anyways, bringing through the chat a little bit more before we move forward. We don't have a whole lot of news today. It's just the way things are. Lots of the same stuff being regurgitated, and I don't like doing that. I don't like talking about old stuff, so I only found new stuff. We don't have a whole lot today. Nobody's fault. Here KFC is called PFK. What is that? Paulette. Are you trying to make me say something bad? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Nobody's fault. I'll have to look into it. Antiz 9/11 is 1 week from today. Never forget. You know what's really interesting? I want to say it was last year. They were saying if you acknowledge 9/11, then you're potentially an extremist here in America. And I think the year before that, it wasn't just 9/11. They also said if you celebrate religious holidays such as Hanukkah or Christmas, you're potentially an extremist here in America. I'm like, okay, so 95% of the country is extremists? Okay, if you say so. I always think of that now when people are like 9/11, never forget. And I'm like, well, for 1 year we had to forget, otherwise you'd be labeled an extremist. Kevin, your first job is picking turnips. My first job was working at the American Legion, Post 26 in Niles. I was washing dishes and bussing tables and stuff, and I was only 14, I think. I wasn't supposed to be doing that stuff, but I was, because my grandma, who I was living with at the time, used to always go down in the Legion. She was a member, obviously, and we would be there all day. She'd be, playing bingo, throwing darts, and doing the pull tabs and all that stuff. She wasn't drinking or anything, but doing everything else. She was also a big part of all the events that would happen, parades, children's programs, Christmas programs, Halloween events, things like that. She was a very big part of all that. Even my sister became a part of it when she became of age and all of that stuff. So my first job was washing dishes and bussing tables down there, and they used to ask me if I was a little flamboyant because I had both my ears pierced, and you know how things are at the American Legion. It's a bunch of older people. So I had one hoop in each ear, and they're like, hey, I don't want you busting my table. And I'm like, why? They're like, because you're a little off. Like, what are you talking about? And they would grab their ear. They'd grab their right ear. Like, you're a little off. Because they thought I was a little flamboyant. They were wrong. I was trying to be cool. Thought it was cool having hoops in each ear. Thought it was neat, but no. Those are the old days. You can't talk like that now. You can't have bias like that now. What's up, Cerebrus? Happy freedom. Appreciate you being here. I can't tell if things are running on Odyssey or not. It says there's one person watching, but it's probably me. And every time I click play, it just buffers. I'm going to have to work on Odyssey. I don't know what's going on with that. Something's going on. What's up, American Woman? Happy freedom. What's up, Market Spy? We have a burger delivery robot at Sam's Club. That is crazy. I've never even heard of that. Somebody's going to have to send me a picture of that. A burger delivery robot. That is something. Make sure you get a hold of me, Market Spy, over on Gilded. I was looking for you Saturday. Make sure you get a hold of me. I already wrote you a huge paragraph, so I didn't want to write on top of that. What's up? Is it Lisa Ann? Appreciate you being here. American Woman, inflation is way too high. It's not sustainable. I agree. Something is going to have to happen. And a lot of people are like, well, we need to raise minimum wage so it'll make all the wages go up. I don't necessarily believe that will happen. I don't think that if we raise minimum wage that the rest of the wages will go up. But I know the big fear about raising minimum wage is the cause of inflation. But what if inflation already is happening? Will raising minimum wage hurt anything? Because everything's already going up in price except for minimum wage and any other wage. So I've been wondering that. Would it even hurt anything at this point? Because inflation is already happening. So hopefully things will go back down, which is unheard of. But something absolutely needs to happen. American Woman, no. Whipped cream does not need to cost $6.99. I agree. Food costs way too much. There's been, well, I just went and got groceries yesterday, and there was probably 6 times where I went to reach for something and I was like, oh no, that's $8. I ain't paying $8 for Pop-Tarts. Or, whatever it was I was grabbing, like granola bars or something. I'm like, no, it's too much. Can't pay that much for snacks. Tom, we need to put a cap on greed and profit. See, and I've been thinking about that too, but if you were working your way to $1 billion, you wouldn't want somebody to tell you that you need to make less money. But there needs to be something. Something needs to be done. I can't fathom what the correct answer is as of right now. But I would feel that way if I was on the top of the food chain and I was trying to make my next dollar, and to have poor people tell me how much money I should be making. that'd make me feel some type of way, and I'm sure it would make most of you guys feel some type of way. So I don't know that putting a cap on it is the answer, but maybe a range or something, because after a certain point, you're not even, like, it's kind of pointless making money. After you have so much money, you're just like, you're winning the game. You know, you got enough money to put your kids in college. At what point did you call it enough? So I don't know. It's hard to say. American woman, nope. I feel they need to get a better job. I do too. That's part of why I don't even consider raising minimum wage, because if you want to have nice things, you should have a job that pays better than minimum wage, and it is available. I live in, like, during the recession, the county that I live in was considered the poorest in the state, and at the time, Michigan was the poorest state in the country. So I was in the poorest county in the country, and there's jobs here that pay better than minimum wage. And if you live in an area that doesn't pay better than minimum wage, make a job. Everybody has the power to do it. Everybody has enough inspiration, has enough brain cells to start your own job. Be the better person in town. If everybody wants to just, work temp workers into the ground and not pay anybody a fair wage, start a business that will. You're completely capable. I don't care if you're selling peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You can do it. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Mr. Beansy Beans, you're a young hooligan at heart. I am. This body's getting old, though. I'm waiting for the clones to start being mainstream. Put your Neuralink into the new body. You're like 26 again. Your brain's still 40, though. It'd be good to go. Good to go. It'd be like changing tires on the car. Give me a new body. Bipolar Bear, rental prices are out of whack. I agree. $2,000 a month to live in a studio apartment and stuff, which seems to be like the norm across the country, if not more. If you live over on the West Coast, $2,000 is probably cheap. If you live in New York, it's $2,000 is probably cheap. But yeah, the whole renting situation is rough. And then purchasing a house is hard too. I have good credit. I have what's considered outstanding credit, which is only because of my student loans. But also because of my student loans, I owe so much money I can't get a mortgage. I'm thinking about applying for rural development loan, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I need to get a house. I need to be in a house. And I don't have a way to get one. Houses start at $250,000 for a single bedroom, 1-story house in the middle of no man's land. $250,000, and then you also need a down payment. And then they look at my debt to income ratio, and because I owe $42,000 in student loan debt, they won't give me a mortgage. But I might be able to apply for rural development. Well, I just don't know what all that entails. That seems to be my only hope. I just don't know all the strings attached, and that's what worries me. Big Mac Pride, average home is $1 million. Yeah. It's hard to live right now. It's hard to be alive. Jerry, you spend $1,200 a day in diesel fuel? That's wild. Just reading through the chat a little bit more before we move forward. What's up, MH? Happy freedom. Lone Wolf, if wages go up, so will everything else. Yeah. What's up, God Rides a Harley? Happy freedom. Are you really at Burning Man? I think Snook sent me 2 videos about Burning Man, and I decided not to cover it because I don't understand the situation. And I watched both videos, and I do not understand what the deal is. So when you go to any music festival, at least any music festival I've been to, people die. I don't want that to happen, but it happens. It does. Electric Forest goes on in Rothbury, not too far from me. 80,000 people show up over the weekend. It's one of the biggest festivals. It's one of the biggest in the country, but I think it is the biggest in the state. And there's an average between like 3 and 6 people that kick the bucket every time it happens. And I mean, it's crazy. We have in the paper all the time people standing on the freeway, butt naked, staring, smiling at the sun, big shit-eating grin, while cars are whizzing by at 75 miles an hour. And then, they end up getting smoked. One year there was somebody running between tents and caught a steel cable and decapitated themselves. There's multiple drug overdoses because people are blowing white snow in each other's back door to try and bypass their kidneys to get a bigger high. There's all kinds of stuff that happen, and people kick the bucket. That's just something that's a part of the festival, I guess. I don't know. It's tradition. I don't know what to tell you. Just hope it's not you when you pay your $700 for the ticket, I guess. I don't know. But that's what happened at Burning Man. Somebody kicked the bucket. And then there was flooding, and then they locked the gate so there's nobody coming in or out of the Burning Man festival. So people are stuck there with the supplies they have, which is near nothing because you spend so much money for the damn ticket, you just bring snacks, really. And they're stuck there. Those people are stuck there. And there's a whole ton of them, a whole field of people. But that's it. Both news articles I watched didn't say any more than that. So I don't know why they're in lockdown. I don't know if it's because the one person died and they're trying to figure out what happened, so everybody's locked down. I'm not sure. But that seems to happen at every music festival. So I don't know what is making Burning Man such a special, iconic moment right now where it's all over the news. It just seems like any other music festival as far as someone died, we don't know what happened, people are muddy and dirty. Like, I don't know why that's news. So until I can figure out what the actual leverage is that makes that different from any other music festival, that's why I didn't add it on the schedule today. And at Woodstock, a lot of people die as well. Yeah. Yep. That's what Electric Forest is. It's the old Rothbury Festival that everybody, used to be a big deal or whatever. That's what Electric Forest is now. Because too many people died for the Rothbury Festival. Like 1 year, it was like too many. Like, I don't know how many is too many, but too many kicked the bucket. They shut it down and Electric Forest bought them out. I don't know. Either way, we're going to move on to this next video. It's titled, Harvard Scientist Says Orbs Found in Ocean Are from Interstellar Meteor. And I wonder what they're going to do with this. It's just resources. It's not alien life. It's just resources at a concentrated level that can't be found inside of our galaxy. So what are they going to do with it? They're going to start harvesting this crap out of the ocean, I imagine. Let's get her started.
Joining us now to talk more about his research is Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb. Professor Loeb, it's always good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Professor, first I want to ask you about the discovery your team made of what you believe are fragments of the first ever meteor found that came from outside of our solar system. What makes you think that this material is not from our solar system?
It has composition of elements with much higher concentration than we find on Earth, the Moon, Mars, or any other object in the solar system. These elements are, for example, beryllium, lanthanum, uranium, at concentrations that are hundreds of times higher than the typical solar system materials. And that implies that it came from a completely different environment. And already, a decade ago, this meteor was discovered with a very high speed that implies that it's not bound by gravity to the sun. And now we have the composition as another signature of that. And the question is, where did it come from? And obviously, one can think of natural origins, for example, magma ocean, a molten rock planet where you might get those elements separated from other elements. But it could also be technological in origin. If another civilization realized that using those elements is useful for some particular purpose.
Any reason that you would think it's technological in origin? I mean, explain to me, what is the leap then that this has anything to do with aliens or UAPs?
Well, the object was moving faster than 95% of all stars in the vicinity of the sun, relative to the so-called local standard of rest of the Milky Way galaxy. And moreover, it was able to maintain its integrity to very high stress as a result of its friction on air. So it was actually tougher in terms of material strength than all space rocks previously identified by NASA over the past decade. And so it's tougher than even iron meteorites. And the question is why? And one possibility is Voyager-like meteor. Just imagine our spacecraft Voyager leaving the solar system and colliding with a planet far away. It would appear as a meteor of unusual strength because it's made of stainless steel, and unusual speed because it benefited from propulsion. So that led us to go to the Pacific Ocean and search for those tiny droplets that melted off the surface of the object. We found them, and now we analyze their composition. And indeed, it looks quite unusual, never seen before.
What is the likelihood in your mind that it is technological in origin?
Well, we want to find out based on evidence. So we are planning the next expedition to go out and look for bigger pieces of the object, because it's easy to tell the difference between a piece of a rock and a piece of a technological gadget. So we are hoping that this would resolve the question. And at the same time, one can try and work out what kind of scenarios could lead to such a composition that is quite unusual. And we are just at the beginning of a very interesting story here.
You know, Professor, I've had the pleasure of speaking with you several times before, and I do want to ask you a delicate question, if you can bear with me, because may none of us ever read the meanest things written about us on the internet. But can I ask you, I mean, how do you respond to some other scientists who've been quoted in press this week who basically say Professor Loeb is out there doing things that reflect poorly on the rest of the scientific community? He's out there saying all of this stuff. How would you respond to that?
Well, I'm following the scientific method. We went to the Pacific Ocean to collect the materials from this meteor, and then we came back and analyzed them and wrote a scientific paper about it. This is exactly how science is done. Those who have strong opinions without seeking evidence are not scientists. They are just opinion advocates. So they have an opinion, they have a prejudice. We are just looking at the clues and reporting them in a scientific paper. And of course, you have to consider all possibilities until the evidence is conclusive. So there is no harm done in considering possibilities. I don't know why those people are offended by considering possibilities. I mean, let me give you an example. We don't know what most of the matter in the universe is. We call it dark matter. And I've been working for several decades. I wrote more than 1,000 scientific papers, many of them on the nature of dark matter, which we don't know. And so people propose possibilities, and then experimentalists go out and search which of them might be ruled out or may be correct.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
I don't know. Seemed to be like a lot of lingo going on there. He was saying he was referring to it as if it was technology, but then as he described it as resources. It was made of uranium and iron and minerals. It was made of minerals. How do you make the leap from minerals to technology? He was like, it's a technologically, I don't know exactly how he phrased it. I can't remember, but you couldn't tell that you would think he was talking about an iPhone, not a salt, or sand or something like that. He was making it sound weird, but I don't know. They seem pretty excited about it. And then they said they're going to go back, and that's what I was saying. They're probably going to just harvest it, and then who knows what they're going to use it for. Who knows? I think if we found a planet that actually had some use to it, I feel like, this is if we actually go to space and all that stuff, which there's that whole argument, but I think if we went to a planet and found oil, we would just turn that planet into a mining field, and we would just mine the planet's resources until there was nothing left. I don't know how we would bring it back to Earth, but that's what I think we would do. So them to find substance that melted off of a meteorite and fell in the ocean, I think they're going to go harvest all of that. I also think that if they did find anything significant, they wouldn't even tell us. They'd be like, yeah, it was made of, iron and stuff. But if they found a new metal or something like that we didn't have on our planet, who knows what they would use it for. Like the 24 karat gold plated TV plugs and stuff you see now. Like, you started seeing more of this publicly with HDMI cables. When HDMI cables became a new standard you could get the regular ones, or you could get the ones that are coated in 24 karat, and that's because the connection is better. Prior to that, you didn't really see that with TV, but you saw it a lot with studio equipment. When you go to buy cables for studio equipment, audio studio, you would have the option for 24 karat gold connectors and things like that, because it actually makes a difference. Same thing with Cadillacs, right? Like, your catalytic converter in your Cadillac has platinum in it, whereas if you drive an old Buick or something, your catalytic converter has gold or silver in it. So there's a lot of uses for these precious metals other than, you know, blinging yourself out because you're going to the club. So I imagine if they found new metals in these resources, they would probably be geared towards using it for technology or seeing if they could replicate it one way or another through the alloy process. But who knows? I just thought it was interesting, and I thought we would all share this. Maybe they're going to put it in Apollo. They're going to use these minerals, and they're going to build Apollo up, so your coworker, he might be your buddy that you work with at Amazon, but he also might be a nuclear weapon. You don't know. It's just Apollo. Don't worry about him or it or they. We're going to have to get Apollo some pronouns so we know how to refer to it. Jesus loves us, the world we live in. It's just this delusional state that we're all somehow enjoying together. I don't know. These are weird times we're living in. I'm going to read through the chat really quick before we move on to the next one. The next one is about the BLM protesters that are out there for that woman that was shot. And that most scientists are atheists. They don't believe in God Almighty. Some do. Some believe in God, because there's a part of us in our DNA that isn't found anywhere in the galaxy. The God particle. There's just a little molecular piece of us that isn't anywhere else. It only exists in humans. And then, so some scientists believe in God because of that. Some scientists also believe in God because of the timing. Our whole universe, or our galaxy at least, moves in time, synchronized together. We also work like that on top of the planet, as well as the things that happen inside the planet. And scientists, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, came to a conclusion that there is no way that we just accidentally became this way. If this was an act of nature, eventually the planets would hit each other and stuff like that. Like if we were just by random sort all put here, the planets, gravity, the rotation around each other, if it all just happened by accident, eventually the planets would collide. Something would happen, and we would evolve into something else. We would no longer be, a gyroscope of planets. Something would happen, change would happen faster than it is now. For us to work so rhythmically and so perfectly, the only conclusion that they could come up with was that this is all an act of God. This isn't like throwing a rock, or it's going to go where it goes because of how you threw it, the angle you threw it, the matter around it. It's not a natural act like that. This is orchestrated. This is put here on purpose in a excellent system that continues moving perfectly. And they're saying that it's too perfect. Like finding straight edges in nature. It's impossible. And for this to work so perfectly is the evidence of God. And scientists were making claims of that, like I said, like 4 or 5 years ago. I was hearing a lot about it. And the articles were titled, "Scientists are starting to believe in God and less in evolution because of that, because of how perfectly everything works together." But it's not everyone. It's just, I'm sure a small percentage of scientists. 10 man, everyone has to have something to believe in. Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of people just believe in themselves. Which is fine for self-esteem, but it's not good if you think you're the all-knowing being. You end up being like Bill Gates and stuff. And what about scientists that believe in the Big Bang Theory? Those are evolution-believing scientists. And they don't have a reason to believe in God because they believe in evolution. It also depends on what field of science you're in. You could say I'm a scientist. I have a degree in science. But what is my expertise? Riots. I don't know. I study the science of riots. That's what we do here. Welcome to the University of Hooliganism. We study the science of riots and psychopaths masquerading around as politicians. That's what we do here. Welcome. Welcome. We'll have to make t-shirts. Simply Witchy. It comes up again because they say now there's a devil's particle. I wouldn't be surprised. But there has to be balance. If there is a God particle, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something mislabeled as the devil's particle, when in reality it would be the darkness, right? Because in the first sentence of the Bible or whatever, where it talks about, in the beginning there was God, and God said, let there be light. Well, that's how it's quoted, but what it actually says is it mentions the darkness. There was God, and there was the darkness, which is like dark matter and stuff like that. It's not perfectly pointing fingers. There's a lot of people who speculate on what that means. But there was God and the darkness. And the darkness gets no recognition at all. It's the very beginning of the Bible. That's all there was. That's why God made light, because all there was the darkness. And so I feel the opposite of God is the darkness, not the devil. The devil being an angel who was created by God. That's, to us here on earth, man being manipulated by the devil or the influence of God, the Holy Spirit. I feel the opposite is the darkness, not the devil. That's just sub-tier from God. So on the level of God is darkness. But not everybody sees it that way. That's just how I believe in it. So the opposite of a God particle would be the darkness particle in my thought process. Space Beat, I got my degree in common sense. That's what we all need. We need a lesson of common sense. Antis riotology. That makes us riotologists. We're fancy. We keep making up words, the left will start liking us. Ghostly. Science is nothing more than the language God speaks to create existence, and we speak at the level of an infant. It's true. It's true. I believe we are all in the mind of God. That's what I actually think. I think we are just thoughts inside of God's head. In your brain is the only place in existence where you can take nothing and make it into something with your thoughts. Your brain is the only universe where that is capable. That's a thing that happens. So if God can believe something into existence, say something, speak something into existence, it's very much like our thoughts. And if we are created in God's image, maybe we're all just in God's head. We're just thoughts in his brain. We're going to end up in some rabbit holes today. Everybody's going to be doing lots of research today. Marcus Spy, a foreign material versus an alien technology. Yeah, and I think that's why he was phrasing it that way, is because the scientist in that video that we watched wants some more props. He wants a little bit more spotlight than he's getting. He is discovered, or he's a part of a team that discovered those minerals that came off, melted off of that meteorite into the ocean. And as the reporter had mentioned, he's getting scrutiny. Maybe his scrutiny is because of the way he's selling his discovery. To say this is technology of alien origin sounds a lot better than we found high concentrated minerals through a resource that came off of a meteorite. That sounds boring. That sounds like a shovel in dirt. And you're like, that's something. But if you say it's technology of alien origin, you're like, damn, what is that? You gotta look into it. So I don't know. The doctor was overselling it, and I will say that. Tom, history is a set of lies agreed upon. It is the story of the survivors. That's what history is. It is the story told from the perspective of survivors, the people who survived whatever it may be. War, conditions of your environment, oppression of some sort. Those that survived it get to tell the story in the way that they perceived it, or the way they want to paint it. That's what history is. Dat Doer sure, of course. We're already trying to mine the moon. Finally got to the side with water, so we're getting there. I mean, I believe so. I know it's unrealistic now for Earth, not just Earth, but the American government to be mining resources from outside planets. To get it here from there would require that we have either vehicles that are capable of coming back, you know, spaceships and stuff like that, or having a facility built on the planet where we are mining resources so we can send a craft to the planet to be filled with the resources that we're mining and harvesting, then to have fuel and whatnot replenished on that planet to be sent back to Earth to gather the resources here to be dispensed and distributed. But I think we're a ways out from that. I think we got a way to go. God rides a Harley. I love Venn diagrams. Every time I read it, it's in Hyena Harris's voice. It's just programmed in my brain. You know, I love Venn diagrams. Hyena Harris. That's all she is. That's all she is. Speaking forwards and then speaking backwards and then hoping somebody got something out of it. Hyena Harris is like a fortune teller. She just wants you to give her your hand so she can read you your future out of creative phrasing and whatnot. Pamela, you crack me up. Alright, hooligans, we're going to move forward to this next video. This is titled, Hundreds of BLM Protesters Gathered for a Demonstration in Columbus, Ohio following the death of Takiana Young. So as I described earlier in the live today, we covered a live Saturday on the non-YouTube platforms because we had the body cam footage of what happened to Takiana Young. She was accused... Hold on a second. Let me stop that. She was accused of stealing liquor from a store. She was in the parking lot of the store. Officers had already arrived. I don't know what happened in between there. But on the body cam footage, you can see the officers knocking on the glass. There's a cop in front of the vehicle. There's a cop at the driver's side door tapping on the window. Hey, I need you to get out of the car. The store is saying that you stole liquor. We need to talk to you. You're obviously being detained and yada, yada, yada. They go back and forth. The woman's like refusing. She's like shooing them out. The window's like cracked or whatever. And she's like, you know, go away. Leave me alone. I didn't steal nothing. That lady's a bitch and blah, 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 blah. Refused to comply. After this little back and forth happened, then she... I should be able to show this. Then she decided to pull away. They're going back and forth at the driver's side window. She's like, no, I'm not dealing with this. Goes to pull away. Cop's in front of the car. Puts his hand on the hood. He's like, you know, you need to stop, whatever, whatever. She continues to pull forward as if she is going to run him over. Draws a sidearm. Boom. One shot through the windshield. Hits her in the chest. She's pregnant at the time. She has a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old at home or somewhere else that she is the mother of. She's killed by the shot to the chest. The car rolls forward into the building. Doesn't harm the building from what I can see, but does come to a stop. That's the end of the body cam footage right there. They're attempting to get in the driver door. Door's locked. They're trying to break the glass with glass breakers of some sort. That's what the body cam footage showed. I couldn't show it on YouTube, so hopefully most of you guys went over to Rumble or jeffmaclive.com in order to watch that. This is the continuation of that. These are protesters who were out in the streets 14 hours ago. Well, it was probably 16 hours ago now. Because of that incident. I don't know if this is going to be another George Floyd situation or not, but protesters are starting to get stirred up. I will be looking for this later today to see if there's protesters that we can catch live in the streets. But hopefully I got you guys up to date with what happened. Again, her name is Takiana Young or something along those lines. I may be mispronouncing it. That is not intentional. But yeah, so this is protesters in the streets. I think Andy No shared this. But as you can see, and I am so suspicious of this tag, but right here, you can see the BG on the scene tag. Every time this guy captures footage, or this person, this BG on the scene person, every time they capture footage, Andy No shares it. And it's been that way for years. when I first came across this tag, there was a riot going on in DC, and everybody seen footage from this guy, these clips, on Twitter, and everybody was saying, you're not capturing a riot that's taking place in DC right now. And I looked everywhere, and I could not find this going on. This BG on the scene had no live footage. It was only clips like we're about to watch. This person was the only person to have that footage. There was no other person. I waited 3 days. There was no one else with the footage, and everybody got bent out of shape because I didn't cover the riot. I don't necessarily think this BG on the scene person is 100% accurate, or at least back then it wasn't. Because you can't tell me that there was a riot going on in DC and not one other person caught any footage, live or otherwise. Only this person. So I am suspicious of this BG on the scene, and I want you to know that now. I am very suspicious of this person, but you will see this tag on many videos shared by Andy No. And I don't know what the situation is with their relationship, but I don't trust this BG on the scene necessarily. But this protest did happen. I've seen other accounts that did cover it and stuff like that. I did not see it live anywhere, but I do have reason to believe that this protest did actually happen. But the BG on the scene person, I don't trust them. I don't necessarily think all of their stuff is accurate. That's why I just happened to capture this event that happened. So I just wanted you guys to know that. We're gonna go ahead and get this started. It's not very eventful. This is more to see how many people did march in support, and they are BLMers. You'll be able to tell here in a second. It's very obvious. But they are in support of Takiana Young, even though it went down the way that I described. Let's get this started. So that's pretty much that whole clip there. I can't remember if there's more for the protests or not. But that was like the biggest condensed video, I guess. Well, here's another one. I don't know what they're gonna say. Hopefully nothing too terrible. This is just a continuation on the same stuff going on. So I mean, there is a good sized group there. Bigger group than we've seen lately. But I don't know. Like I said, I'll keep my eyes out to see if we can get some protesting live today. I don't know why they're protesting for this person. They obviously were doing something wrong. They didn't have to die. that didn't have to happen, but the choices they made led them down that road. As you could see, the sign that one of the protesters was holding said "Stop Killer Cops." That's the original slogan, I guess. Remember, hands up, don't shoot, all that stuff. They stopped saying that because it wasn't about killer cops anymore. It became about other things. But it seems like they've gone full circle. They're back to killer cops now and stuff like that. I don't know if the officer was justified in the situation. It's not up to me. But she was pulling forward. She was going to try and take off. And she was willing to accelerate her vehicle while a cop was hands on the hood in front of the car. So, I mean, if it was me, if I was the cop and this person was trying to run me over, I would probably feel like my life was in danger. The car is being used as a weapon and I need to defend myself with lethal force. I would probably feel the same way. These protesters obviously feel that the officer should have just let her go, maybe gotten out of the way. It's a perspective issue, right? Criminals are like, I'm in the middle of committing a crime. If you choose to stop me, whatever happens to you happens to you. That's the perspective of the criminal. Whereas people who don't want criminals in their neighborhood, they're not a criminal. They don't want to be the victim of a criminal. They look at it like, you're committing crime and it's my obligation and duty to stop you from doing that, from hurting this person and potentially hurting others. And so they feel it as a moral obligation. I was trying to say it in one word. A moral obligation to stop them, where the criminal sees it as you getting involved in something that doesn't concern you. Talking about the same situation, but these are two very different perspectives based on the parties involved. And so you can see BLM saying, oh yeah, the cops didn't have to kill her, she was just committing a crime, you should have let her go, it's your fault, you should have never got involved, because that's from the point of view of a criminal. That's the perspective of a criminal, and that's who they side with in this specific situation. Those people protesting are pro-criminal perspective. Otherwise they wouldn't be out there marching. They would say, well, she shouldn't have been committing crime. She should have proved that she didn't actually steal stuff. She shouldn't have tried to driving over an officer to get away. And like I had mentioned when we covered the video Saturday, what did she think was going to happen? She thought she was going to drive away and go home and the cops were going to call it quits and she will, I don't know, be pregnant and drink her liquor that night in celebration of getting away. They weren't going to come to the house, knock on the door after reading the license plate, getting her name, seeing camera footage. They weren't going to make a second attempt to arrest her. What did she think was going to happen? So it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, she was involved in criminal activity, and the protesters are pro-criminal activity. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the streets supporting her being killed, or whatever, because she was committing a crime. That's my analysis on it. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what all of you hooligans think. We have one more video for the YouTube side of things, and then we'll be moving on with all the Nazi stuff that was happening over the weekend that we're going to cover. Serum, she should have watched Chris Rock. She should have did something. She should have did something other than what she did. What's up, Chris? Happy freedom. Happy Labor Day. I keep forgetting it's Labor Day. Patriot Dad, my daughter's high school went into lockdown because of gangs. She was afraid to go to school last Friday. It's messed up. It's messed up. That whole gang thing is a rough situation because Americans have the right to assemble. That's why gangs are not illegal, contrary to what people believe. People think gangs are illegal. They're not. It's your right. You have the right to be in a gang, actually. But if you have a crime-ridden area where gangs are taking over and stuff like that, then you have people getting their rights infringed upon. Because now cops are so used to having to crack down on gangs that if they see you wearing blue, red, black, yellow, whatever colors, they'll assume you're in a gang and they will start to mistreat you because they're so tired of dealing with the damn gangs. And so those areas have rough situations and a rough relationship between the citizens and the police, because if they think for a moment you're a part of that gang activity, they're so sick and tired of it that they're going to crack down on you and potentially infringe on your rights, not as being a part of the gang, but when they see you as a criminal when you're not a criminal, you get that harsh treatment even though it's undeserving. Space Baby MAGA gang shit. See, and they could do the same thing. That's what they did with ICP, right? The Insane Clown Posse. The FBI declared, what do they call their fans? Juggalos. They're like juggalos. At one point were considered a gang back in the 90s. Now they're considered like a terrorist organization because the FBI did that. And it's all because they like their music. You know, it's that's all it takes. That's all it takes. A gathering of anybody. And they could do the same thing with MAGA people. They could say MAGA's a gang. I've been telling you guys that for years, though. BLM, Antifa, any of that stuff. Proud Boys, they're gangs. They may not be calling themselves gangs, but that's what they are. They're a group of people with representation using logos and stuff. They could say that we're a gang, right? We got badges and stuff, but it depends how you carry yourself. It depends who's pointing the fingers and saying what. We need to mind our own business. That's what we need to. We need minding your own business to get trending. We're so busy analyzing each other, trying to decide who's right and who's wrong. And really, if we just mind our own business, we wouldn't have to worry about it. High toe gangs aren't. Their activities are. Yeah. And that's what carries the weight. is gangs, traditional gangs, commit crime. So that's why you associate gangs and crime as being illegal. But it's their activities that are actually illegal, not the gang itself. J-Rup, you ain't a true juggalo if you ain't rocking some Jinko jeans. I'm trying to think. The Jinko jeans are trying to come back, but they're so expensive. They're like $40 now. I don't know anybody that's going to be buying Jinko jeans for $40. Serum, friends don't let friends become juggalos. Yeah, the whole juggalo thing has really died down since the 90s. After The Wraith of Shangri-La came out, a lot of people fell off. But, yeah. Juggalos have a really bad rep because most of the CSE offenders in prison have the Hatchet Man tattoo. So because of prison culture, people with the Hatchet Man tattoo, which is a logo that ICP uses as part of their branding, and a lot of fans of ICP will get the Juggalo tattoo or necklaces or clothing in support for their favorite band, ICP, right? But because of prison culture, most of the CSE offenders in there who are getting their asses stomped because of the terrible crimes they've committed, they a lot of times have Juggalo tattoos. They have the Hatchet Man tattoo. So because of that, a lot of people see the Hatchet Man tattoo and they automatically assume you're a sex offender, that you're somebody that hurts kids. And so I think ever since that became a really popular thing, I think that's hurt ICP's image even more. I just seen footage from the gathering of the Juggalos that took place a month or so ago, and the turnout did not look very good, in my opinion. Sin of Men. Well, I appreciate you joining us over here on Rumble. We are all over the place today. We're talking about all kinds of stuff today. I was worried about it being boring, but I think it's more interesting than anything else. Having a good show today. It's a good Monday. Let's see. Marcus Spy sent you an email. Marcus Spy, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to be looking more into the rural development mortgage stuff. I feel like maybe I should be embarrassed to say that, but I really need a house and I don't have any other way to get one. But I got to look into it though. Marcus Spy, I'll check that email right after the live and I'll get back to you and stuff. All that. The scientist was selling it like Billy Mays. He was, wasn't it? He's like, but wait, there's more. This is technology of alien origin. Mr. Beansy Beans. I'm glad those idiot Nazis are supporting old man Walter. The more the merrier. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The whole Nazi situation. We'll be covering that pretty soon. What's up, Salty Ragu? Salty Ragu, go to Odyssey and see if it's working. It's supposed to be... It says it's connected, but when I try to go to it, it's buffering. But I can't tell if that's because I'm running a live or if it's actually buffering over there. Empty Coiner, we've been trying to use the rural development loan. Still can't find a house. Montana market is out of control. Yeah. I don't know much about it. I just kind of heard about it and then I looked into it and I qualify as far as low income. So I'm interested in getting it started, but I did see something talk about certain properties have to qualify for that kind of loan. Whether you're building a house or if you are purchasing a house. And I haven't talked to an agent yet, so I don't know much about figuring that out. Snook's Odyssey isn't on. Oh, yep. It looks like it finally kicked the bucket. Yep, it's disconnected. It was connected and it was buffering, but when I would click play, it would show me an image of right now. And so I thought maybe it was working, it just wasn't playing for me. either way. You guys are cracking me up over on Rumble. Kelly, I'm gonna look into it because I really need a house. I really need a house. Living in this little apartment is really wearing me out. It's like a storage locker. I have piles of stuff. It's new. A lot of stuff is brand new, but I just don't have any place for it. I have more stuff than space for stuff. And I don't have stuff I want to get rid of. Everything I have is either brand new or really expensive, and I would use it if I was at a house. I moved from a three-level, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on 10 acres of property to this little apartment. And so I brought a lot of stuff. I used to run 2 grow rooms and a full studio and all this stuff, and I had to cram it into this tiny apartment. And since then, I've gained broadcasting equipment to do this live stream and a bunch of other things, and I just really need a house. I need a house. So I'm working on it. Alright, we're going to move on to this last video for the YouTube side of things before cutting YouTube off and moving on to the Nazi crap that was happening in Florida. This last video is titled Vacationer in Chief. Here's a look at the major crises. The major crises? Yeah, I guess. Major crises that old man Walter missed while he was away on vacation. This is just kind of a fact dump, a little summary of what a terrible job the old man Walter's doing. After this, we're going to be wrapping up YouTube and continuing on with 2 videos I have about some Nazis that were in Florida yesterday. They were somewhere near Disney World from what I understand. I don't see Disney World in the background in the videos, but there's lots of information pointing that they were near Disney World. But they were parading around in Florida, showing everybody their white supreme pizza-ness-ism and stuff and whatnot. But we can't show that on YouTube because it's too soft on YouTube, okay? So that'll be after this video. I also want to remind you guys, check the links in the description if you would like to support the live, get a cool t-shirt like I got on right now, and go join Gilded. You can do all of that from the link tree. Check out all the links in the description. It's important. Do so. Okay. Anyways, once again, Vacationer in Chief. Here's a look at the major crises that Biden missed while he was away.
While America grapples with inflation, a crumbling border, and weather disasters, President Biden is taking yet another vacation.
So let's go off the wall and take a look at just how many times Joe Biden has been escaping the Oval Office to put some sand in his toes. We'll get to the overall numbers in a moment. We'll let you know what the percentage is. But of his 957 days in office, he's spent 382 of them on vacation.
And it's marked some very important moments in American history since he's been in office. We can go back to the summer of 2021. During the fall of Kabul, Biden was at Camp David for a 6-day vacation.
I feel like if a 20-year mission is descending into chaos and American lives are on the line, being close to the Situation Room, being in the Oval Office, being in the White House is where you'd want to be, near your Pentagon and your Pentagon leaders. You could say you could work at Camp David, that's fine, but it's not the same as the White House, and it was defined as a vacation.
Some of this may be the consequence of America electing a very old and very beleaguered president. It's going to need some time, especially at the end of the day. And apparently, for many weeks, like we had a rough week in the U.S. economy in the summer of 2022. And it's the same week that you'll famously remember Joe Biden falling off his beach in Rehoboth Beach, falling off his bike in Rehoboth Beach.
1 mile an hour across a crosswalk, and it was just too big of a feat. The Dow dropped below 30,000, and gas in that time moved to over $5 a gallon. We're heading back in that direction, by the way. No concern of Joe, just taking a ride with his bike helmet.
Let's keep going. Take a look at some of these instances as well. How about in February of 2022, during the second day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, early days of that war, which obviously and eventually the United States government would go all in on, but not initially because Biden was at his home in Delaware. Yeah,
that was a war that he said he was going to prevent. Then when he didn't, in fact, during this time frame, Zelensky was asked to flee the country and didn't. Wonder who asked him, but Joe's on vacation. Another vacation, 4-day weekend, right at the same time remember that Chinese spy balloon that was flying over the country that they claimed we didn't know anything about, but I'm sure they did. And then we found out there were other ones that happened that people were not notified about. Joe was on vacation, January 2023.
And then last month, during the Maui wildfires, the death toll now well above 100, the most dangerous natural disaster or human error-caused disaster in like 100 years in America. Once again, he was at Rehoboth Beach. There was some more or less flattering pictures of him.
Yes.
Splayed out under an umbrella in a bathing suit on the beach.
Lot of biking, a lot of taking in of the sun. And then when he did go to Maui, when he finally went, what was it, 2 weeks later, I believe, Will? Here's what he said when asked in Delaware about what was happening in Maui. Watch.
Mr. President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
Can you tell us about your Hawaii trip, sir?
No, not now.
No comment. No, not now. And what you started to say, Pete, is when he eventually did get around to talking about Maui, he had diminished it and talked about his kitchen fire.
Yeah, it was the kitchen fire in one of these houses. Yeah, that's he's 80.
Yeah.
He's 80, and that's why when you go here to the floor, what do those numbers add up to? 40% of his presidency has been on vacation. Do you spend 40% of your job off?
The most important public office in America. And to your point, do you get 40% of your time off? Think we're being unfair? Think we're cherry-picking instances throughout his presidency where he's been at Rehoboth Beach or on vacation during major crises? Think it's partisan? Well, how about this? 40%. How does that add up to other presidencies? Let's put it on the wall. I see Democrats. I see Republicans. I see presidents. From George H.W. Bush, who got the closest at 36%, down to JFK, a Democrat, at 11%, Pete. You can just see the amount of time as compared to 40% various presidents spent on vacation.
Think about how much time the media has spent talking about George W. Bush golfing after 9/11 or Donald Trump spending time on the golf course. Their percentage is nowhere near. Well, George W. Bush is pretty close, but Trump's 25%. Clinton, 12. I mean, looks pretty sweet with that flip phone. Look at that. He was like, I'm a cool dude.
Yeah.
All the way down here to, Barack Obama and Ronald Reagan.
Did I say JFK? I meant Ronald Reagan. The black and white might have thrown me off if I said JFK. But yes, guys who were working 90% of the time, and Joe Biden, throughout all of those big moments in American history that require some leadership, on vacation.
Now, don't get me wrong.
40%.
I don't mind if Joe's on vacation, because it's like when Congress is on vacation, they're not doing bad things. Problem is, he's got a staff, and they're always meddling and doing things, and who knows if he's really in charge. So if he's on vacation, while what do they say, while the cat's away, the mice will play.
40%.
It's staggering. That's at the end of the day.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like...
we should take 40% of weekends off.
Sold.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley.
Even when old man Walter's on stage, he's still on vacation. He doesn't know what's going on. 40% of the time that he's been in office, being on vacation, must be nice. Must be nice. Must be because of that great economy they keep talking about. What a piece of shit. People can't afford gas. They can't afford to live anywhere. They can't really afford food with as much as it costs. This guy's going on vacation every other week. But then he's always telling us what the American people want and need. Come on, man. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Dan, he's always on vacation in his mind. He is. And that Biden should take his next vacation in Gitmo. Make it permanent. Should. He should. Man, I believe so many people. I believe that many people voted for him. Now they're eating crow. They're getting what they voted for. It's true. They voted for somebody who's going to spend 40% of their time, who's supposed to be working, on vacation. Must be nice. It must be nice. Space baby, old man Walter is owned. Shots are being called by the deep state. I agree. He ain't running nothing. Old man Walter's not running anything. You see, Jill Handler is always dragging him around, telling him what to say, telling him what not to say, telling him how to get up and down stairs. Like, Jill Handler, if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have been able to pull off this song and dance as long as he has. I don't think he's in control of anything. Bizarro Obama gets his 10%. He's the big guy. I've been thinking that too. Old Man Walter's not the big guy, it's Obama. Old Man Walter doesn't know what's going on. I think Hunter Biden has been selling the Biden brand. And when people are connecting with Old Man Walter, everything he says and does is actually controlled by Obama. I think Old Man Walter is just the face guy. The connections are being made by Hunter, and all the smart fancy talk and networking is actually being handled by Obama. That's what I think anyways. Crimp. They'd never let him run anything ever. No. There's no stability there. Old Man Walter, he could be doing fine for now and then fuck it all up in 5 minutes. J-Rup. He can't control his own bowels, let alone the U.S. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hey, I appreciate you, Market Spy. I don't know anything about that rural development stuff, so everything you guys are telling me is needed information, because I really don't know anything about it. Mr. Beansy Beans, isn't it very hard to wear Depends over a bathing suit? Old Man Walter, he looks like a ghoul. The only time that he's transparent, like KJP is always talking about, the only time he's transparent is when he's laying on the beach with his shirt off. That's the only transparency we get out of the White House. Old Man Walter at the beach. Otherwise, that ain't nothing. Let's read through the chat really quick. That is the last video we were going to show on YouTube. I just realized I never gave you guys the Rumble link over on YouTube. You guys need that. Ka-chow. It's definitely a lot easier to do things over on YouTube since they took that emoji button out of the chat. It was hovering right over the message area of the chat. And it looks like they removed it. Alright, hooligans, if you are on YouTube, now is the time to leave. I put the Rumble link at the very top of the chat. I pinned it at the top, so if you'd like to watch on Rumble, you are welcome to do so. But there is the Linktree link where you can use that to watch on any platform. So if you don't want to watch on Rumble, we are live on Twitch, Kick, and jeffmaclive.com. I think we're also live on Twitter. We were earlier. Let me see if I can find it. We were earlier, but Odyssey kicked the bucket, so I don't know. No, we're still live on Twitter. So they did fix it on Twitter, which is good. So I'll have to fix that on the Linktree. But on the Linktree, you can watch live anywhere except for Twitter. I don't think Twitter link is on there. But you also have the links to donate if you would like to donate to the live to support what I do. You can find the Hooligan merch. You can definitely go join Gilded. That's what you need to do. Anyways, I guess I could show you better than I could tell you. This is the Linktree. Take advantage of it. Everything on here is worthwhile. Okay? But now, we're shutting off YouTube. We got 2 videos about the Blood Tribe, which is some Nazis. They're self-proclaimed Nazis. They go by the phrase Blood Tribe. We got 2 videos on it, but I can't show it on YouTube because community guidelines are too soft over there, so leave YouTube now. Everybody else, go ahead and keep your seat that you got, refill your coffee, grab you a riot snack or 2 if you need. We'll be moving forward in just a moment.